I mean, you know what? Like, it's a classic story of power of an idea. Here is a person in 11th class, someone randomly asking, what do you want to do? It's like,
Yes.
मेरे को civil servant या IAS IFS बनना है. And here you are actually an IFS officer. So,
So, sir, at that time, I would say that my mother played a very important role. So, she was the one, very patiently, she used to listen to me. All my grudges, all my frustration, I just used to went out in front of her, like, नहीं हो रहा है, सोचा था कर लूंगी, बहुत पोटेंशियल था, अब क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Sir, there's a lot of uncertainty involved. Now I am actually interacting with my batchmates who are into the Indian Foreign Service, and many of them made it into the IFS in their 6th attempt, on the last
yeah,
attempt.
yeah.
And so then interacting with someone who is making the same service in their 6th attempt and then being in the first attempt, I think that the interaction becomes very complex and
Exactly.
interesting.
Yeah.
ठीक है, ये भी हो सकता है, अगर नहीं हुआ, अगर मैं ये करता हूँ तो ये भी तो हो सकता है ना. So that thing that you have to deal with the uncertainty part. And then, sir, the lows that you are talking about, the self-doubt, people coming from different backgrounds, very good academic backgrounds, and that they are not able to make through it. Prelims नहीं हुआ, इंटरव्यू से आए उसके बाद प्रीलिम्स ही नहीं हुआ. So, sir, there are these moments, I think, that takes a toll on your mental health. So here comes a challenge. I was declared temporary medically unfit because of certain reasons. And I was given a stipulated amount of time that this is the time wherein you have to reappear for the medical and then come as a fit candidate so that we can give you service. I was allocated the service in the third iteration. In the first two iteration, I didn't got the service. But sir, I would say that it was not so smooth in the preparation. When it comes to execution, you have a lot of self-doubt, a lot of negative thoughts. I would say at times I just thought that whether my decision of pursuing it and not going for masters was right or not.
In Raw and Real, we asked this one question in the end, which is like if you had to go to a desert island, okay, and you can only take 3 things with you, and there is no internet there. It's a desert island. What are those 3 things that you'll take with you? Hi, and welcome to season 2 of Raw and Real. This is episode 1. I'm Prayas Gupta, your host. Today we are speaking with Swati Sandeep. Imagine 11th class ke induction mein, a teacher casually asked Swati, what would she like to become? IAS or IFS officer. Without knowing anything about it, that's what Swati said. 5 years later, cut to 2022, Swati appears for civil service exam for the first time and entered into Indian Foreign Service. But Swati की story इतनी rosy या simple नहीं है. In an expensive 90-minute conversation, Swati and I talk about failure, importance of mental health, her support system during those low and bad days, how she approached the exam and how she laid 1.5 years of foundation before she actually got into the preparation, which is very relevant if you're a beginner. Also, if you're struggling through multiple attempts and not able to get clarity, this is the conversation you just can't afford to miss. She also talked about how she has to struggle through in getting into a service even after qualifying the exam. Kind of mistakes she made and how those mistakes shaped her, feedback loops, and all those things, right? It's a very reflective conversation where Swati shows us how the path to success in civil service exam often becomes clear in hindsight, but before that, you just have a series of unexpected choices and unintended consequences. All this and more in yet another masterclass on UPSC preparation. I hope you will enjoy the conversation as much as I did. Before you go ahead, there's a form in the description. We are conducting a very important masterclass for beginners only. So go ahead and fill that form. Go ahead, enjoy the conversation. Question number 1. Swati, like, why did civil service exam or civil service compel you? Like, what is it about UPSC, CSE, or IAS, IPS, IFS that compelled you so much that after I think you graduated, you thought this is the thing I want to do?
So I would say there was a lot of factors around. It all started with an induction class program that I attended when I was in class 11. I was asked that what you want to do in life, And out of the blue, I said that I want to join the civil services. Well, at that time, I didn't have any idea as such that what civil
You have
services
no
are.
idea like what is IFS and
No, sir, I didn't have. I was just amazed by that civil services offers a wide opportunity. You have that government service and all. You provide service to the society and you get a lot of fame. That childish things were around. So just I said it out of box that I want to join the civil services. The gravity of the situation, I could understand that while I was in graduation. My elder sister was preparing for civil service at that time when I was in the second year in 2020 because I graduated in 2021. So I was in the second year and she was already into this preparation. So fairly, I got an idea. Like I always used to interact with her and or used to talk with her as if how the syllabus is, how the preparation is going on. So I actually got interested into it. Like the way she explained me, I would say she was the guiding light in this preparation. Like she always used to inspire me. She always used to guide me as if how I have to go through the preparation. So she has an immense role to play. I'll come to it once the question pertains to that value. But for the timing, I would say that the initial hint about the exam, as of how the exam is, what is the nature of the exam, and what the service actually provides, what future perspectives it has. I think it was during the second year when I actually got interested into the civil services, and I decided that okay, once I'm done with the graduation, I'll definitely go with the service. So there was a very mild motivation that day, but once I was into the preparation, I got more information and gathered more details about how the exam and how the service actually performs for the society. I was more inclined towards joining the Indian Foreign Service as such because I felt that it has a wide range of uh, opportunities that you get. Like you get a chance to represent your country. So I think that was a point during the preparation that I got even more interested in civil services.
so like from 11th class, from that like teacher asking what do you want to become to second year, I think there are 2-3 years, right?
Yes.
What was happening then?
Sir, at that time, I was just going by, like I was following my interest. I had an interest in physics. So I completed my class 12 with PCM, a good scorer. I was like one of the toppers of my school. So I was happy with it. Then I went with physics. I just followed my intuitions. Like, okay, this is something that I want to do. I didn't have a clarity, to be honest, like what I really wanted. Like I really wanted to go into IFS or IAS or civil service. I didn't have a clarity as such. I was still exploring. Okay, let's just follow the interest for that, the line being. So I pursued physics honors, and while I was into the preparation, and I was thinking about what actually now, because once you are done with the graduation, you have to think like what do you want now? Do you want to pursue it further, or do you want any career turn? We would say. So therein, I kind of explored different career opportunities, and therein, when I got to know about the civil services and opportunities office.
Cool. So was the influence only from your elder sister? By the way, is she in service somewhere right now?
No, no, sir, she couldn't qualify,
Okay, cool.
unfortunately.
So was the influence only coming from your elder sister or around your friends? Because this career choice is not, it's not that, you don't see it much,
Sir,
right?
yes, sir, definitely. But sir, I would say that when you are like I belong to Jharkhand state, so when you belong to the Jharkhand UP, this is not something that remains unknown to you. Like every other person, every other relative, if you're good in studies, they would advise you, एक बार बैठ के तो देखो exam में आगे देख लेंगे. So this is something that is very much common in
Yeah.
your relatives and other stuff. So this was there, but I was not sure as if how I have to kind of shape my career, like how to go into it, the preparation, when I have to start, whether I'll be able to qualify it or what if I don't. So I didn't have that clarity. Over the time, I think in this preparation, that clarity started taking shape. So I think that was it.
Correct. Okay. So like when you started, let's say you're in second year, right?
Yes.
Is this the period when you have started reading and preparing, or you're just exploring right now?
So in the second year, because I had I had to put good efforts during the graduation as well. So I was just reading I was reading some pages, some chapters of Lakshmikant. I was just exploring the subject as if how and what to read. I didn't know about the syllabus that time. It all started in 2021 when I completed my graduation. In October 2021, that I got a print of the syllabus as if what the syllabus is, especially that of the mains and the prelims. I sorted out my reading stuff that, okay, these are the certain books and newspapers that I have to go through. Then I charted out my plan as if how will I actually pursue it. So then it went very structured. Before that, it was very unstructured. I was just exploring and making a plan. I think a lot of efforts goes into planning the thing. Once you execute it, and if it is planned accordingly, then I think things become easier. So I think I took nearly 1 year to plan the things, and then to execute it, I think it became easier for me then.
1 year, like from second year to third year, you were just planning?
Yes, sir. Like I was going through the stuff, I was going through the syllabus, I was going through what toppers talk. I think that I watched nearly 400 or 300 toppers talk. I was just gauging at, okay, this is about the exam, okay, this is something that they suggest to read. So I was just making up my mind, okay, now I have to be in that mode, I have to read this stuff. So things went
Okay.
so gradually.
Okay. So like from second year to third year, it was mostly like, okay, so like you said you have been good in studies in school and college, right?
Yes.
And like physics is not like, it's not like Karlo kind of a subject. You have to be down there, right? Like you have to prepare properly, understand the fundamentals. So my question is, were you all, you said I spent a lot of time in structuring my preparation and understanding the whole, like charting the whole thing out, right? Karna kya hai, kya hoga, kya nahi hoga, what is the syllabus, what will be needed, etc. Listening to people who have already, won the game on the other side of the game already, right? Toppers, etc. Right? So my question is like, even in school or college, were you always this structured? Or is it like civil service, this is the precedence, like this is a prerequisite, you need to be this much structured? Is it like that?
So I would say that I was a bit structured and functional since my school days. Okay, like I knew that, okay, I have a timeline. I have this dates to complete. Then how I have to go. Like every part needs to be done on time. I can't just delay things. There are certain response. I was in the leadership position also in school and college. So this thing was something that was a part of my
This comes
inherent
natural
character.
to you, like
Yes,
you're one
that
of
that
those
comes
people,
natural.
like,
It was a part of my inherent character. Like, okay, I have to plan things out. I just don't have to rush things, otherwise I'll mess it up. So just
okay.
take your time in planning things, and then once you are done with it, then execute.
Okay. I mean, I have to ask you, when you are so much structured, planned and all, but when rubber hits the road, when you actually start to prepare, right? What is like, are you able to execute, and where is that gap? Like what happens there? What are the things that you discover up new things that you discover about yourself? Because until then it's just a concept in your head. ऐसे करना है, इस date तक ये खत्म करना है, all those things. But when you actually sit down those 7-8 hours daily, what are the things that you discover?
Well, sir, executing it was completely a different ballgame. Like, I thought that things would be very easier, but it wasn't, to be honest. And it was a roller coaster ride for me, ups and downs, highs and lows. I got to
Yes,
know that I
like if
was
you can give
quite.
like what happens, like what like initial, let's say 3 months.
So first of all, it was very overwhelming for me. Like so many subjects, such a big syllabus, that self doubt started creeping in. Like whether I would be able to do that. Then the daily targets, I was not able to complete them. Then that nights, you keep regretting and
Were you
cursing yourself.
self-assigning? Were you self-assigning these targets or something?
Yes, I was self-assigning that, okay, these things need this. I actually decided to go topic wise. Like this is the
Okay.
part of the topic that I need to complete in a week or in a day. Like daily and weekly plans were there for me. And when I was not able to complete it, there were these nights of regret and self-doubt that I'm not able to complete at least the daily targets. How will I complete the syllabus? I don't have time as such. So there was self-doubt. I became very anxious at times. Started crying all of a sudden. Like I became very short-tempered. So I think so it was not at all easy. A lot of self-discipline, a lot of self-motivation, and
Yeah.
most importantly, I would say patience goes in to kind of keep you. Just you have to keep doing it, even if it doesn't work. One day it would. So that patience, that perseverance that goes in, I think that is very important.
Correct. I mean, so here's the thing, right? When we start, so here's a person who has been good at studies, always structured, planning everything. And she sits down one day and it's like, अब तो ये करने का है, like इतने महीने में ये करना है, all those things. And when the reality hits, self-doubt creeps in. I don't know what have I gotten myself into. And these are the new things that you discover. Of course, these are not the thing that you desire for, These are a little bit of flaws that you discover in yourself, right? And that is where the conflict happens, right? I want to do something. I know what is good for me. I know this will help me, but I'm still not able to do. It's not sometimes like you don't even know what should be done. In this case, like, so like, who were you talking to at these times when, you're getting overwhelmed and maybe like crying or, like looking for help? Like, who was there around you?
So especially when you're a very good student, like from your
Yeah.
school days, people have very high expectations. Even you develop very high expectations, like from yourself. I would do it anyway. And when you're actually not able to perform it, things become a bit very different for you. Like you actually start self-doubting. You actually think that whether I'll be able to do it or just I have taken something that I don't deserve at least. So have I actually overestimated my potential or what? Like there are many questions that just hover around your mind. So at that time, I would say that my mother played a very important role. So she was the one, very patiently, she used to listen to me, all my grudges, all my frustration. I just used to went out in front of her like, नहीं हो रहा है, सोचा था कर लूंगी, बहुत potential था, अब क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? I was always a topper. Why I'm not able to do this? Lot of things I used to just went out in front of her. And she very patiently she listened to me and she said that you have chosen a very different path. You have chosen to follow your dreams and your passion. So it doesn't come easy. So
Yeah.
if you are ready to pay the cost, you have to prepare. If you are not ready and if you're being so impatient, it's better to leave than to affect your mental health. Don't do that. If you have chosen a path for yourself, you should have the dare to face any and every challenge that come in front of you. And she always used to be there, like the one person who can actually listen to me very patiently, all my frustration without any reply or without any kind of
Yeah.
judging me as such. She used to listen to me very patiently. I think that time that I spent with her actually I used to be very relaxed after that. I thought that okay, I have to kind of control my emotions at time and I have to go like I have to get ready for the next day now. The day is over now. Now a
And
new set of
sometimes,
challenges, a new set of
yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Just venture in.
Yeah, I mean, if I think of it, like sometimes you don't need people who can give you answers because you're not asking any questions from them. Like, it's like you're just going there and talking to them. Like you just need someone who can just listen, no judgments, nothing. I don't need to hear back anything from you. Just listen my frustration. And once you have dumped that, all those things, and then you're back to, and that is where you said, right? Like resilience come back. Like, no matter how many times I'll get down, I'm kind of going to get up tomorrow. And perseverance is mostly like, I'll keep trying and I'll keep trying and I'll keep trying kind of a thing, right? These are the two things. But eventually, like at the end of the day, you are human, everyone is human. So, I mean, you need that, support system. And like, as I said, like you started your preparation thinking a rosy path, right? But then that's on the journey you discover your flaws, right? And that's what like, okay, so that's what brings me to another thing, like navigating the preparation. So now you have seen these days, now इनका भी habit लग जाता है these days, you start to expect the crisis also now, like things will happen. It's not that rosy as I thought, even if you are one of those students जहाँ पे expectation बहुत high है and like you've been doing really well, uh, all your schools and college, right? So let's talk about navigating through the preparation, right? And I think, like in my conversation with people who have been successful, I think there are two approaches and lenses they look to their preparation, right? One is like a, so for you, like when you were starting, you said I spent really good enough, almost a year, क्या syllabus है, how to prepare, what like toppers ने क्या follow किया and all those things, right? That is kind of a map. This is the map I have. I know where I have to go. I know politically kya karna, all those things, subject wise. And map is good. Like I know where I'm going, so I'll stick to this, right? But then there's like a compass way of looking at things, right? I have the compass. I know where the north is, and I'll go through this forest, and I will decide what is going to happen as it comes, right? I don't want to like be strict about this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'll follow polity because topper ne bola hai. I'll start polity in a certain way, right? But I'll see as it comes. अगर नहीं हो रहा है तो कुछ और तरीका यूज करेंगे. पेपर में फिर भी मार्क्स नहीं आए तो like I'll try to figure out some other way. That is a compass way, right? You don't make a strict goal. You go to the preparation and then you figure out on the way. You make
Yes, sir.
decisions on the way. You keep iterating, keep becoming better, right? What was it for you? Were you like starting say yahi tarika hai, this is what the topper said, I'll follow this? Or were you like compass way, right? It was like I'll keep iterating on the way, all those things.
So I would say that initially, the broad idea that I got, like how I have to structure my answer, I used to study the toppers copies. I used to study what their sources they followed. So initially, I was very much into like what toppers क्या कह रहे हैं, चलो पहले उनको explore करते हैं. Then I felt that that certain things are not working for me. I have my different set of strengths and weaknesses. I'm not very good at writing paragraphs. I'm good at writing pointers. I'm good at writing making short diagrams of flowcharts. So the one who has written in paragraphs is getting very high score. So it may happen that I don't get the same marks. That may act as a disadvantage to me. So I think gradually, so during the preparation, I started identifying my strengths and weaknesses. Although initially started by the broad areas that the toppers highlighted that okay, these you should be good at these things. So I started initially with those in mind, but I think gradually I filtered it out according to my own strengths and weaknesses, like how my style of answer writing is. So gradually I developed my own skill of answer writing, which was at the end of the day, it was completely different from what I thought that I would be writing. Like I still remember the first answer that I wrote nearly took 25 minutes. It was a 10 marker.
Like one answer? You're saying one answer?
One answer is a 10 marker. I took 25 minutes. Maybe I don't know. I didn't have any
Which
idea.
Which is in general is 1/3 of the time you should take, right? 7-8
Yes,
minutes.
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Yeah.
On the D-Day, I completed an answer in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But the first answer that I wrote took nearly 25 minutes. So that was a bit kind of depressing moment for me. Like, what am I doing? Like 25 minutes, I just have 3 hours to complete the paper. So how will I do that? But then, sir, there comes in like how self-disciplined you are and how perseverant you are. Like, do you really have the dare to write the answer again, or will you just wait for the right time to come? There is no right time in this preparation, I would say. If you ever feel that once I'm done with the syllabus, I'm done with the things, I'm going to write the answer. You are never completed. Like the syllabus is something which is, although UPSC has tried to make it very structured, but there is, I don't feel that there are, once you get the time that, okay, the syllabus is done, all right. You don't get that time. You eventually have to, like, you have to manage a lot of things simultaneously. It is a very integrated kind of preparation wherein you can't prepare in silos, like pre-ka kar lete, fir mains ka karte. You have to take in a lot of things at a time. So I think, sir, I would say that it somehow I structured my own answer, like how I will write my own answers. But it initially started from how toppers used to write. I filtered it out over a period of time.
So it was like, yes, there is going to be a map. I know where I have to go. But as I will go on the way, you realize the reality is different for you. Like, I can't write certain way of answers, right? Basically, you're saying, you had your own way of preparing for the UPSC. It was not a very generalized way. You figured out your own way. I'm good at diagrams, bullet points, etc. And that is the strength you played with. Of course, you kept on working. But here's a question, right? You seem to be having a lot of self-talks. मेरे को ये करना है, and I have to do this and all this. Is this very common with people with good, toppers and academic background? Like, why do you, or this is you talking to yourself, right? ये तो करना ही है. Or is it someone else telling you? Tell me like those days, like when this self-talk happens, because I think, I don't know if a lot of people are able to do this, right? Because
so I would say that at that time I was a bit very introverted. So I didn't like to express myself a lot. So therein comes a lot of self-talk. At times when you are surrounded by people also, you kind of, you're engaged in your self-talk. Something is going in your head and all. So yes, sir, I was a bit introverted, a person who remained quiet for some time. Like I really don't used to talk that much to friends. I had friends, or indeed they were kind of very good friends, always encouraging me. But I would say that I'm a person who always used to focus on myself. Okay, this is something I used to kind of rate myself. Okay, this is my performance for the day. This is something that I will do tomorrow. So I think that was a part of my character. So from the very beginning, I was like, okay, passionate about things that if I'm given a responsibility, I would try my level best to kind of do it in a proper and certain manner that I want to. But sir, I would say that it was not so smooth in the preparation. It is
Yeah.
when it comes to execution, you have a lot of self doubt, a lot of negative thoughts. I would say at times I just thought that whether my decision of pursuing it and not going for masters was right or not. So I don't know, sir. Like
Sorry,
there were
going for masters?
yes, sir. Actually, I was told by my parents that are you sure about doing this exam or you want to pursue your masters? Like you have done your graduation, do you want to pursue?
Were you offer going for physics only in master?
Yeah, you do because you are interested. You are a distinction holder in your graduation. Do you want to pursue your masters? So I was told that I just told them no because at that time I thought I was very confident about my decision that okay, civil service is the thing that I want to do. But when it comes to execution, when it comes to that daily hard work, and I would say kind of you were very much upset, nahi ho raha hai. So at that time, when my parents used to talk to me, they always said that, "Are you sure?" Like, I mean, they were always promoting me, but at times when they saw me at my low, then my mother was always telling, "Are you sure that you want to do the masters or you are doing to the civil services? You can still go back." I said, no, I don't want to go back. I'm going to stick to the decision that I have already taken. I want
But
to do the
why?
same.
What is it that is telling you you should stick to
Yes.
this?
Sir,
Like,
I think the preparation, the exposure that I got, the exposure of my society, my geography, my history, the interest that I developed during the preparation.
with that, okay, so it's not a pressure by other people. It is something you genuinely
No,
want.
sir. Genuinely, it came over a period of time when I was actually reading the subjects, understanding the context, its utilities, your role as a civil servant. I think that really made me interested into this domain. And then I felt that where my real passion lies.
Yeah.
So I knew that the things are not going as I was thinking earlier that it should go, but I was very sure that my interest lies in this domain. And if I could ever do better then I could only do in this domain. So I think I would do justice to my own passion, to my own interest if I ever pursue this preparation. So I was very sure about that while I was preparing for it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Like, it's a classic story of power of an idea. Here is a person in 11th class, someone randomly asking, what do you want to do? It's like,
Yes.
मेरे को civil servant या IAS, IFS बनना है. And here you are actually an IFS officer. So I think this is a classic story of power of an idea, right? Somewhere that is there and kind of now manifesting into reality.
It gradually
Yeah,
developed
yeah.
over a period of time by,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
the
that,
seed was always there, right? Of
yes,
course, you said it randomly one day without even knowing what is the service, but that's the power of an idea, right? Like 4 or 5 years back, that thing was said, like told randomly. Okay, tell me, like, okay, so here is the thing, right? When we set up ourselves for something, there is a goal, ठीक है? और of course, यार goal थोड़े aspirationally होने चाहिए, right? And in your case, like you pretty much chose one of the toughest, right, exam in India. All good. Now here is the thing: when we are setting up goal, we kind of naturally see the upside of it, not the grunt and the hard work that comes with it, the low days that comes with it, right? If I want to prepare for civil service, like बहुत अच्छी job है, IAS, power, all those things, कितना change ला सकते हैं with IFS, represent the country and so many things that you can do, right? Unparalleled thing that probably other jobs won't have it, right? So you're seeing this upside, but at the same time, you kind of don't see the low days, downside. What if I don't and I invest 6 years, right? Because it's not like it's not a story, right? There are people who don't qualify after like so many attempts. So my question is, what were your friends doing in choosing this time? When you are doing going to your mother, crying and all, what is like when I say friends, is your school, college folks, because they are the one choosing different career paths, right? What was happening there? Was there a pressure कि ये तो ये कर रहे हैं, all those things?
definitely, sir, there was a pressure. Like my
So
friends were
were they
already in
going
job.
for like what were they
Uh,
going for?
so my friends, most of them did the engineering. They were into the corporate MNCs. My
Oh,
few friends who were with me in the physics, they were pursuing masters and research. So I was here with a completely different path. I didn't have any humanity background, and then now I was pursuing civil services. So now I was completely choosing at a different path at a time when most of my friends are thinking of being settled now. So obviously there was an inherent pressure, like, okay, now they are being settled, now they are earning. The most important thing, they have a job.
Yeah.
You're still jobless. So that pressure is there, like the pressure that you have to be settled at least. Okay, the service is okay. You have your dreams, you have your passion, but then there comes a reality that
Yeah.
you have to be settled. Now you have kind of completed your graduation. You have to know that what you actually want to do in your life. You have reached that age. You can't be in a confusion and in kind of things that I don't
Yeah.
know kya karna hai mujhe. So yes, sir, there was a pressure, but I think somehow I was thinking that whatever I'm doing is going in the right direction. सेल्फ डाउट था, बट देन देयर वाज आल्सो दिस इनहेरेंट कॉन्फिडेंस जो अंदर से आ रहा था. कभी कभी व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू राइट आंसर्स एंड एट टाइम्स आई यूज्ड टू गेट वेरी गुड स्कोर्स, उस समय देयर वाज अ कॉन्फिडेंस लाइक आई वाज फीलिंग दैट अब एग्जाम तो हो ही जाएगा. देन देयर वर लोज आल्सो व्हेन आई वाज नॉट एबल टू कंप्लीट द आंसर ऑन टाइम. टेस्ट 3.5 घंटे के दे रहे हैं, तो एट दैट टाइम आल्सो आई फेल्ट कि पता नहीं, देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ मिक्स्ड
Yeah,
इमोशंस दैट वर गोइंग
it's
ऑन.
it's like you had a classic physics or mathematical, like, sinusoidal journey. It's like, ups and down and all those things. So, but like you said, हाँ ठीक है. See, that's the downside or the risk part of a goal that we choose to overlook. When we are deciding the goal, we are like, life अच्छा होएगा. Of course, I want to assume निकल जाएगा exam. And you have a good track record of being good at academics, right? And you genuinely want to do it. It's not like कोई pressure कर रहा है. So two ingredients are like great, right? But it's still you hit that execution ka grunt daily and all those things. So I want to say, like, ठीक है, like मेरे marks कभी कभी अच्छे आ रहे हैं, I feel good, and some days are bad. एक दिन like I'm taking almost half an hour to write an answer, right? What is the yardstick here? How do I know that I'm growing, I'm doing better? Because, like, were you like, did you do coaching or something from somewhere? Like
No,
proper
sir. It was completely
alone.
self-raised
Exactly.
alone.
Great. Now that is more a stronger reason for you to tell us, like, how do you measure? Like, try to understand, right? Like, I am at home, ठीक है, syllabus है, सब है, but how do I know कि I'm moving in what is the yardstick to check I'm growing or not growing, right?
So there was a lot of ambiguity. I would say that there was a lot of confusion around. You don't know that whether you're going in the right direction or not, especially when you don't have any guidance as such from the
Yeah.
coaching centers. That is the real situation that I would say. A lot of confusions were there, sir, but then I had this very clear idea that if at all I get any other day, or if at all I get one more chance, I think I can improve. That perseverance, that persistence was, I think, it was developing over every single day. That hard work that I was putting in, 8 hours of good study, like that used to give me a very immense pleasure and immense confidence that, okay, I will go through it. Like I will actually pass over any kind of demotivation that I'm going to face. Okay, it's okay. it's 8 hours today. It's okay. Now, tomorrow, I will actually increase the topics that I have to cover or increase the duration that I have to study. So it was very incremental and gradual. There were days when I was very low. People were around me. My mother was there. She used to motivate me. It's okay. Just keep on doing what you think is right. And at that time, I felt that, okay, now what I have to do is that just kind of reorient your preparation, see where you're actually lagging behind, see those areas of your weaknesses that you may feel that you can work upon it. So I think, sir, it was more of a self kind of evaluation that I was going through.
This is how many months into the preparation? Like how
Sir, I think that preparation of 1 year between second and third year, that mind map that I created, that really helped me. That if it doesn't work, I can have a plan B. Like I can go through these topics. I can go through polity first to get a confidence. Then I can go through economics to develop an interest, and then I can go through art and culture at the end so that I don't get bored as such. So there was a lot of things that went inside that 1 year of mental mapping that I was engaged in. Therein, when it comes to execution, it was not as simple as I thought. But then still, I think that confidence that I got because of a proper planning, because of that positive mindset that okay, and because of the hard work, sir, I think once you are satisfied with your hard work at the end of the day, I think that really motivates you for the next day, next upcoming challenges. Okay, you did your share today, okay,
Yeah.
and that too very honestly. So I think so that inherently gives you that confidence that tomorrow also things would even be better. So that positive mindset start developing. So mostly I would actually want to highlight here that so during the preparation you become a completely different person. Like
I like
you
very.
actually grows with the preparation, you actually grow like every single day, you even become more mature and more patient. This preparation in itself, I think the training doesn't start at Labasana or FSI. I think this training of this exam starts during the preparation. Every single day you learn a lot of things, you commit a lot of mistakes, and you just go on with a lot of experiences for the next day. So I think so the preparation in itself actually taught me a lot of things. I think it was the 1.5 year preparation that I did, which made me a completely different person once I was in the training institute. I think that therein was where the actual training starts. How you
Yeah.
are able to cope up with the challenges that are coming forward. How you are able to get ready for the next set, next day. I think, sir, it was incremental and gradual. Self-learning process, I would say.
So I think you took it, you never thought, like too ahead in time. It was mostly one day at a time kind of a thing. Did I
Yes,
do
sir.
it today? Am I satisfied today? And then we'll deal with another day when it comes tomorrow, right? And what
Yes, sir.
happened unknowingly is like your hard work start to get compound over a period of time, right? And you start to build this basic foundation that you can always fall back upon and jump back type, right? But on this journey, like when you were writing answers, when you are not doing well, when you're doing well, when you see that I'm doing average but I can improve, right? You figured out certain subjects or certain areas of exam I'm really good at. uh, Sometimes you're really good at things but just the mindset you're not in and you're not able to perform better. And this thing you're pretty much got in one attempt, right? This is your single maiden attempt. Tell me about the feedback loop, and who were these people, where were you getting this feedback from, about for your own mental health and all exam specific preparation, also mains, prelims, interview का भी. तो
Yes, sir.
feedback आप कहाँ से ले रहे थे, and how do you trust it, right? Feedback तो like you'll get a lot, but how do you trust कि, like how do you find a credible source of feedback, right? Yeah, I can just blindly trust and go ahead.
So here comes the gray area. Like this is something that I really want to highlight. You don't have to take all feedbacks in this
Yeah.
preparation. Like everyone has their own opinion, and it doesn't matter that every opinion actually suits you. It is not important.
Yeah.
So what happens is that while I was preparing for the prelims, I took mock tests from various coaching centers, like from very different institutes. And then I used to actually see my marks that I was getting in it. And then I actually used to evaluate my marks. And then I kind of, when I scored very good marks in the exam, I was very happy. Okay, this is done. And when I was not able to score very good marks, then I used to see the answers, the explanations that okay, these are something that needs to be highlighted. I'm not actually getting the question here. I'm not actually able to opt for the right answer here. So this was something that I was always looking through. So, sir, I would say from my conversation, you may think of it as I was a very positive-minded person. I always look forward for opportunities. Like I was always thought, okay, ye nahi ho raha hai, so these are the loopholes that I need to cover. So I always was a very positive-minded person who always wanted to improve. I think that was inherently in my character. I wouldn't say. Maybe it actually grew with the preparation, but mostly I was like, even today also I was very optimistic that okay, anyway, if I don't ever I got stuck today in that traffic, but anyway I thought okay, I'll manage to do this session today. So somehow I'm a kind of that optimistic mindset person, so I always used to look for the loopholes wherein I have to work. I never took it as a setback that okay, I'm not doing good at it. Instead of cursing myself, I thought it's better to improve on. So that is how the mock test gave me a reflection of my preparation, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to prelims. I solved nearly 60 to 70 mock tests before the prelims. And that gave me a confidence. Towards the days when the prelims were close, I think towards April, my scores were gradually increasing to 110 and
How much were
1.
you scoring on an average in prelims
So
these days?
initially it was nearly 60 to 70, sometimes 55. My lowest was 43 or
Mhm.
something, 43, 42, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it was in 40s.
Yeah.
And towards the prelims, I think I was scoring a bit good, like 110, 120. So my marks were gradually improving. So I think that gave me that confidence. Okay, prelims is something that wherein these actually gradually I highlighted the loopholes. I actually
That's the
highlighted the areas.
feedback. That's the feedback part, right? You're
Yes,
sitting with
yes.
the solution, telling yourself this is why.
Okay, this is why. These are the areas wherein I have to work. So I was highlighting those areas
Yeah.
gradually that okay, these are my weak zones. So I started working on it instead of thinking that अरे नहीं हो रहा है, marks कम आ गए. Instead of just focusing on the marks, I was actually thinking of the areas. That okay, geography is something. This Indian geography का this climate वाला part, that this topic is not clear to me. So instead of just focusing on the marks, and evaluating yourself, it's better that okay, go back, take your books out and read the topic again. You're not clear on it. Then, secondly, I felt that for the mains, I would say I joined some online test series and daily answer writing programs. So they used to give the rankings and they used to give the scores also. So
Correct.
therein, I joined for it, and whenever my ranking was good with respect to other students who were appearing for the mains, I was like, okay, I'm on track. And times I also kind of evaluate my answer copies that they used to kind of send me after evaluation. I used to reevaluate it, and I used to compare it to toppers copies that are available online. So actually at times what I used to do that I noted a question, I wrote an answer to it, and then I compared my answer format to that of the topper as if how the things are varying, whether I'm actually satisfying the demand of the question or not, or just I'm not actually. It's very important to understand the context of the question when it comes to mails. You just can't write anything within 7 minutes. You have to
Yeah.
write what is being asked for. So then I compared my answer with that of topper's copy, that whether these things are. So that was one feedback that I relied upon. And secondly, also I used to re-evaluate my evaluated copies. I just didn't just okay, this is the score, I'm happy with it, I got very good marks. No, I actually re-evaluated it. That okay, this is something that he's highlighting, or the examiner who has actually examined my copies highlighted. So is this something that I should focus upon, or should I something that I should ignore this feedback? Like, okay, this is something they're saying that okay, you are over exceeding your word limit or something. Then I actually saw that is it something that I'm doing? So there was that feedback, like a lot of things. The topper's copy was one thing, and then reevaluation by myself was another thing during the mains. So third, during the interview, I would say that the mock tests that really helped me. I took mock tests even from Civilsdaily also, and the panelists they gave me a very positive feedback areas that wherein I had to work. So eventually, I ended up getting a good score in interview.
How
So
much
I
did you
would
score in your marks?
as it was 188 in the
That's
interview.
good. That's a good number, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the feedback that I got from panelists, the experienced civil servants, I think that was the feedback that I relied upon when it comes to interview. And during the interview, I also used to interact with my parents and my friends. They also used to give me feedback. Like when I was preparing for the DAF, they used to ask me questions and they used to say, okay, this is the way you speak. You should have spoken like that, or you should have said this instead. So I think there was a lot of effort that went when it comes to feedback, especially
Yeah.
during the interview phase. But these were the primary sources on which I relied upon. So.
Cool. I just have to ask, when you were entering for the actual interview and when you came out, like what was going on in your head?
So, well, let me say you that was the first interview that I ever, like the
Yeah.
UPSC interview was the first interview I ever faced in my life. So
Like
when
the
I
actual
was,
real, like, because you
yes, sir.
haven't worked anywhere job and all, right?
No,
So,
sir, I had no
so before
zero
that,
knowledge.
the only thing you faced is the mock interviews.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. You were saying, uh,
So, sir, when I was outside that UPSC interview, all I was very nervous. I didn't know how to kind of control my emotions. I was
what
very
was your
overwhelmed.
pen? Who was in your
Yes,
pen?
yes, sir. So
Pen.
my fan was Chaubis, sir, mode. Okay, so I was a bit very like in the conference room also many said that many had their own perceptions regarding the panel. So that was also impacting my mindset
Yeah.
that whether I don't know, I didn't have any experience, I don't know. Like we had some conversation that made me actually nervous, to be honest, on that day. That conferences that I was actually having. So what happens, sir, that eventually during the interview when I went inside, I actually became very calm like during the interview because the panelists they were too cooperative. They said that okay, this is something you this is not a police interrogation, let's just be very casual, you're a very fresh you're a fresher now, you're a very confident person, let's just have a conversation. And then the interview started, and I just lost track of time, like it was over 30 minutes, I didn't realize even. It's just a normal conversation. He was asking me questions regarding my home district because I belong to a district which is LW hit and Naxal area and aspirational district as well. So the questions went on in that direction, mostly DAF based. Some questions were also not so DAF based on my experiences and everything. I also got a very good compliment from a panelist who said that you look very confident, ma'am. So tell me about your experiences as such. So I think there was a lot of things in the interview that actually made my day. That day was my
Did
list.
you okay? Did you feel you'll make it in the list after that interview? What was your conviction after the interview कि अब तो हो जाएगा या नहीं होएगा?
So to be honest, I was
You were
a bit
still like,
skeptical, like whether I would get a good rank or not. But whether so I was a bit confident that okay, I will get
there
my
was
name
some
in the list.
conviction at least list में
There
नाम
was
आ.
some conviction because I felt that my mains went well and my interview also was on. Although in the interview phase is quite unexpected, like you really don't know after you are
Yeah.
out of the interview hall that whether it went well or not. So I wouldn't say that I was completely sure that I'm gonna get my desired service or my rank as such, but then I was very sure that okay, I'll get my name in the list. So that was the thing that was there.
Great. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Um, all right. We'll talk about. You told us about your journey, your daily routine, etc. Were there some habits, rituals that you were following, like waking up early or some exercise, anything that you were following that was keeping you sane, or are you still following some habits, routine, ritual around your life?
Sir, actually, one habit that I used to follow always was that reading of books. That was always there since my school days. That thing was always there.
Do you
Reading
read
a
a
book.
lot?
Yes, sir. Reading non-fiction books was something that was always there. So that actually helped me during the preparation because I was not bored of reading a lot of things. That was something that was a part in which I was interested in. Right. So that was the thing that I was interested in. So reading was something that I always liked. And secondly, so one habit that I developed and I still pursue even in my academy is reading the newspapers. Like I still get to have the two newspapers, the Indian Express and the Hindu. And every morning I just, before going to my classes, I just have a look over it. Like, okay, these are the headlines and these are the
Why?
articles.
Why now?
So that is something I don't know. It's just developed over a period of time into this preparation. Now I don't read it as for writing an answer or
Yeah.
getting some good marks in the interview. It's
Now
just
it's
that
mostly awareness and all this.
awareness, sir, and interest. Like, okay, this is something that I should at least know. So that developed over a period of time. So that was the thing, sir.
Tell us a bit about, from like a lot of aspirants who couldn't make it through first attempt, second attempt. More so for people who are coming from premier colleges, right? कई लोगों का तो लाइक प्रीलिम्स अच्छा हो जाता है मेंस बट वो लास्ट में इंटरव्यू एज यू सेड राइट यू डोंट नो क्या
Yes,
होगा
sir.
एंड मतलब lot of people it hits you eventually, right? So talk about a bit about that resilience, that mental health part of preparation, right? Like what is it that what is the perception these people should have? You kept talking about self feedback and positive self talk. You are one of those people who would not need a lot of people around you. You were introvert and all those things, right? तो हो जाता है यार, लाइक कई बार नेगेटिव सेल्फ टॉक होने लगती है, एंड थिंग्स आर नॉट वर्किंग आउट. और मैं तो बहुत ही अच्छा था एकेडमिक्स में और अब देखो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. लाइक टेल अस अ बिट अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ पार्ट ऑफ दिस प्रिपरेशन बिकॉज इट्स वेरी हार्ड. ग्रंट एक साल बाद होना है फिर से, लाइक इट्स नॉट लाइक कि 3-3 महीने में एग्जाम हो रहा है. So, like, tell us a bit about that.
Sir,
Also, one more thing before you say, because there's a lot of uncertainty also. It's like there's a saying now, UPSC ka U means uncertainty, right? It's like I pass out from my college and then 6 year goes and then I'm not even, I don't know if I will be employable or not, right? So tell us about, those things a bit.
indeed, sir, there's a lot of uncertainty involved. Now I am actually interacting with my batchmates who are into the Indian Foreign Service, and many of them made it into the IFS in their sixth attempt, on the last attempt.
Yeah.
And so then interacting with someone who is making the same service in their sixth attempt and then being in the first attempt, I think that that interaction becomes very complex and
Exactly.
interesting.
Yeah.
So they come from a very premier institute and they have a very varied background. But then when it comes to the preparation, they all have their own stories and own struggles to tell. Like they said that one of my batchmates actually gave 3 consecutive interviews but couldn't make it through, and finally he made it in the last attempt. So I would say that everyone have their different stories to tell, and when it comes to the uncertainty part, indeed it is. Like even when you are done, even when you're sure that okay, you did your part, there is still uncertainty involved until and unless the D-Day comes, when that result PDF actually comes out and you see your name in it. A minute before that uncertainty is still there, even a minute before that release of the result PDF. So the uncertainty is a part of this game and you have to deal with it. Like you can't be certain about any, or like you put in all your efforts, you study for hours, you put in all your concerted efforts in the preparation, but you have to deal with the uncertainty. That's the part of the game. You just can't ignore it. You just can't get away with it. You have to accept it and then work. Like you have to accept this uncertainty part, that this is going to be there. Are you ready to go through the challenges with keeping this uncertainty part in your mind?
Yeah.
Like this will be there. I would put in all my efforts, but then I'm not sure that whether it will yield good results or not. You can't assure anything in this exam or at any stage. So there's an uncertainty involved.
Like
And
keep
so
it like a daily reminder or something. ये हो सकता है.
ये
Like,
हो
I
सकता
can
है.
feel.
There's nothing sure, there's nothing certain. Like okay, if I am working hard, if I'm working 10 hours a day, doesn't assure me my name in the result PDF.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people working 10 hours a day, right? Like they're also
So
preparing.
so you have to deal with it. You have to accept it. And I think this acceptance comes at a level during the preparation. You try to accept it that, okay, there will be an uncertainty and you don't have to always judge based on that uncertain part because it will always be there. Just kind of accept it that there is always that worst part that can happen, but then always look towards the good one that you can make. So that's that positive mindset that we talk about, that you have to be kind of very perseverant. ठीक है, ये भी हो सकता है, पर अगर नहीं हुआ, अगर मैं ये करता हूँ तो ये भी तो हो सकता है ना. So that thing, that you have to deal with the uncertainty part. And then sir, the lows that you are talking about, the self-doubt, people coming from different backgrounds, very good academic backgrounds, and that they are not able to make through it. Prelims नहीं हुआ, इंटरव्यू से आए उसके बाद प्रीलिम्स ही नहीं हुआ. So sir, there are these moments, I think, that takes a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's a time when one of my friends said that he actually qualified for the interview, but he couldn't qualify the interview at the very last stage, and just after 10 days he couldn't make it to the prelims also. So that time I just know his experience. I would like to share here that he didn't talk to anyone for days. Like he didn't even.
Because it doesn't make sense in your head, right? Because you worked hard. पिछले बार interview दिया. It's just like, how does
Yes, the experience that I got from him was that he was clueless. He didn't know that now what, ab kya?
Yeah.
You don't have a job in your hand. You have to wait for 1 year at least to get your name again.
Yeah.
You have to stand up again, rise from the ashes.
And again, that is also not sure कि एक साल बाद भी.
Yeah, so definitely that is also not sure. That uncertainty is a part of this game. You have to deal with it, and then you're here lost, having nothing in your hand, and that uncertainty part is still there. So now you have that double burden to handle. Like you don't know whether you'll be able to make it or not, and for the time being, you're out of the game. So these two things are simultaneously going on your head, and I think the experience that I got from him was that he was kindly clueless. Like he had to stand up again, had to gather all that confidence, all that motivation again. So I think one important thing here, sir, to kind of keep your mental health in record would be said, you need to have a very good motivation as if why you want to join the services. You need to have a very good clarity of your thoughts that this is the reason. This will keep me alive. This will keep me going through the tough times in this preparation. And once you get
Yeah,
that,
like what am I signing up for?
yes, sir, you should be knowing like what are the terms and challenges of this game,
Yeah.
and then only you can play this. You just can't come here without knowing anything, being too much of like I'm too much optimistic, like I will make through it. Being too, you have to deal with the norms of this game, and this
Yeah,
game
it's like
involves
wake up, ho gaya,
uncertainty.
I'll become IAS and all, like those movies.
So that is nothing. That is all fictional, I would say. This is not something that really works in the real life. This exam is way more tough than that. Only a good optimistic mindset, a very energetic mood won't help. You have to sustain that sustenance over a year,
Yeah,
more
because
than
I
a
think
year, I
it's
would
not
say.
just the exam, right? What comes
Yeah,
after that is even harder.
even yes, sir.
The job is
Definitely,
exactly right.
definitely.
It's not just it's a very long game. If you don't
Yeah.
have that kind of a strong mindset, how will you make decisions and all, right? And these decisions affects millions. So
Yes, sir,
like
definitely.
just
That's the reason why I said that the training here doesn't start at Lavasana or FSI. No, it doesn't. It
yeah,
starts during the preparation, that mental toll, and you're just struggling through it and still making up your path through it. Like I will do that anyway, whatever the challenge comes, I will make my path through it. So I think that thing really plays a very important role. That preparation phase, sir. I think there in the training
yeah, like civil
starts,
service
wherein your
exam.
mental caliber actually starts developing. You get a sense of how the situation would be around you, how to it, how to you sail through the difficult situation, how will you make decisions for which will affect millions, even when you are under
Yeah.
pressure. So I think so that caliber actually develops during the preparation phase.
Tell me, like, because I mean, you talked about your colleagues right now in foreign service. They're like sixth attempt premium institute, and we can safely assume उन्होंने भी बहुत मेहनत की है, बहुत पढ़ा है, all these things, right? Probably तुमसे ज़्यादा की होगी, right? But you here attempting getting the rank, there. Looking back, do you think there is an element of luck there? And how do you see it apart from all the hard work that people do? Talk about luck a bit, like, and what exactly is it? When we say luck, like, first of all, do you agree that there is?
Sir, I would say that yes.
So, like, but what is
There is
it?
a share of sir, I would particularly say that when time and situation favors you, like when you are in a positive state of mind, and when the time demands and you are positive, you are very optimistic and positive, like you are very much confident, and at that time you have to give your interview. This is how luck, like the situation and your condition actually resonates.
They're
This is how the
complementing to
luck
each
works.
other.
Yeah, they resonate, they complement each other. This is how the luck works. There's not nothing as if destiny has something or some superpower or something. That's not luck. It's just that things work in your favor anyhow. So there is a certain part of it that goes into, but then again, nothing can outweigh the amount of hard work that you have to put in. Hard work is the key.
Correct.
Luck is something that comes after it. Like it may be a decision, but then mostly it is the hard work, your perseverance, your confidence that you gather over a period of time and that you actually exhibit when the time demands.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can you can still succeed without luck, but you can never succeed like, without hard work or something. Like you have to have, because others are working, and if you're not
So,
matching them,
so definitely this exam is 1 year long, more than 1 year.
yeah.
And if you completely rely on the luck factor, I don't think you'll be able to do anything.
Yeah,
Like you'll just keep procrastinating things. I don't think that really would work. You have to sustain the hard work and the motivation that you actually got during the initial stages. Sustaining that is a difficult challenge. You have to wake up every day with a definite motive in your head, irrespective of what the situations around you are. Even if you have a celebration or kind of thing in your house and you have a ceremony to go, but you know that you have a certain motive today, and unless and until you do that, you're not supposed to be there. So that self-motivation kicks in, that self-control and self-discipline kicks in. And I think that
like
grows over the
that's why you
preparation.
said, like the why part is It's all coming from there only, right? Like, why am I
Yes,
doing
sir. That why, that clarity of thought on why. So that is the biggest, nothing, no external motivation, YouTube
Yeah,
videos, that shorts are
very
gonna
intrinsic.
keep you, it won't sustain you. It will keep you live for 2 or 3 days. You will be remain exciting and everything. Okay, things are good. I will become an IS and I'll just make that reels and would become. But I think just sustaining this spirit over a year, it takes a very deep internal motivation. And once you have a clarity of thought on it, you can't actually do things in the right way as it is supposed to be.
Also, do you like even that clarity of thought is your own introspection, right? It's not कि किसी से जाके पूछ लिया. Even that is
No,
your
sir.
own thing, because a lot of time people are like taking random advices from here and there, right? Like, what should I do? It doesn't last much. I don't know. Like, right?
So it is the biggest thing, biggest challenge I would say that the aspirants today are following. A lot hell of informations. Like there are a lot of information that they're not able to filter it out as if what to take in and what to just not accept. So I think this surplus amount of information in the market, in the coaching centers, and everything that they are actually exposed to, and then that actually start impacting their own decision making. So I think a clarity of thoughts based on simulation, based on the introspection that you are actually what you want, what are your strengths, especially when it comes to choice of services, which service you think that you can actually do justice. So I think a lot of factors that your own internal factor comes in when it comes to that why part, because you have a life, you have a certain motivation, you have seen certain challenges, you have seen a potentials, and you know that what actually makes you suitable for a particular service. So that doesn't comes from an external environment which is completely unknown to you. That is something internal. That why is a very personal question, and each one of us have a very different why, as if why you want to join the civil services. So I think that why is very important. I think that should be the first question before anyone jumps into the preparation, that their why, the clarity of thought on this why should be very clear, because that will only help them to sustain this rigorous journey for a year.
And I think the same, like we can apply this to anything in life, not just like civil service. Like that it applies to almost everything, right? Why am I doing this, etc. Cool. Like
Definitely,
I
sir.
think you talked about failure, mistakes, but now you have hindsight. You can look back, right? And that is the benefit. Biggest of the benefit is the hindsight, right? What will you improve if you were writing today with the hindsight that you have about UPSC exam? What would you improve about your own preparation? You know, and also tell me, how did the mistakes that you make shape you today?
So I think we can only, as they say, connect the dots looking
Yeah.
backwards. And now I can actually connect that at times of my preparation, I felt that I was a bit pessimistic, like हो जाता था. Although I tried to be positive, but then that self-doubt and that creeps in, that actually was affecting my preparation in the initial, when that self-doubt was there. At times when I used to score less, I was not intending that okay आज छोड़ देते हैं, आज पढ़ने का मन नहीं है, let's just take a break in the initial days. Although that improved over the preparation, but then it's a bit I became lax. Okay, आज I didn't get good marks, so let's just take a break. Let's just go out and have some good time, and then I'll just come again. So I think, sir, now when I look backwards, I think that this is something that I would like to improve upon. I would like to be very clear from the very beginning
What would you
that
have done in this
things are not
situation?
good.
Imagine today you get low marks. What would you have?
So then the one thing that I would definitely do is not to think upon the marks too much. I would just keep on doing what I'm supposed to do. Like if I'm supposed to study a definite part today, I would, that my marks of last day wouldn't affect
Like
my
stick to
performance
the
of this
process,
day.
like trust the process.
Yeah, I'll stick to the process. I will not too much think about marks. Although during the preparation, by the end of the preparation, I actually developed this. But in the initial stages, I was like, I was so much concerned about the marks that I was getting, that actually impacted my daily schedule. That okay, I had these topics to cover, but because I had this thing that I got low marks in my exam last day, I was not able to concentrate. I was just sticking to the marks. I was just kind of thinking that nahi hoga. That
You're
self doubt
still
was actually
there in the
creeping.
past.
I was still there in the past. I was not able to think on the present thing that I have. A lot of stuff. And then again, this cycle, I just went in the cycle. I was not able to complete the targets of the day. Then again, this guilt carried. next day. I was not able to complete the thing last day. Now aaj bhi nahi ho payega. So a lot of things in the initial days, I think these things were something that actually made me more anxious. So one thing that I would do definitely was that the marks that I'm getting in the academy last day, that won't impact the books that I have to read today. Keep the marks for the last day only. Just don't carry it forward. Don't carry the guilt forward. Every day is a new day. Just don't carry that guilt and that regret for the next day. And don't let it impact your present and your future that you will create eventually. So
It's
one
like the
thing,
classic thing, right? Like, don't attach yourself with the
yeah,
outcome.
sir, too much. I was too much emotional. I was too much mark centric. I said, okay, marks is
The
something that
outcome
I'm
part,
getting.
like, you know,
Okay, this is something I'm not getting marks as such. So initially, I was over stressing upon this part. Like marks is very important. I was not actually into the process. I was more into the conclusions. Okay, this is something I got good marks. I got bad marks. I didn't even care about the process that I was going through. I was learning at things. I was unlearning very things. So I think therein I felt that a lot of efforts were there. Yeah.
has it been this in your nature, like since the school and college, like marks, etc.? Because you seem to be like academically strong. Is it
Yes,
coming from there?
I think it was there, sir. Like there was a very healthy competition. So I used to score marks and then, okay, compare it with friends. So that was there. And I think this is something this I carried forward in the preparation. I regretted it during the preparation. Like I should not over stress upon it. Let the marks be in their own place. I would just carry forward with the process that I'm into.
Is there anything else that, with the benefit of hindsight, you'd like to improve in your preparation?
So, secondly, I would say that, so in the preparation, I learned a lot of things. Like over a period of time, I became more patient, and that was actually evident in the way I was reacting to others as well in my personal life, in the public life also. I started listening more than to speak. I started listening all perspectives, and today I think this really helps me. Even as a IFS professional, when I'm into it, I am more into listening others. That I think that one quality I learned during the preparation. I started listening others because once you listen to every perspective, then you're able to judge. Then you're able to put forward and analyze as if who is right, who is wrong, and what your point should be. So I think that patience, that power of listening developed over the preparation. Initially, I didn't have. I was too anxious. I was like to comment this and that, and was not able to think as if which perspective is right, what to follow, what not to follow. Lot hell of opinions around, and then I was not able to develop my own opinion. Like my opinion was resonating with that of a columnist of the Hindu. Like I was not able to develop what my opinion lies in. I was just copying him. So once I started developing patience, once I started kind of skilling this art of listening others, I think that really helped me. So
Yeah. I mean, it's because you read a lot. I have to ask this question. You have kind of naturally developed this stoic. Have you heard about the concept stoicism?
so sorry, sir, I
It's
didn't.
like a Greek emperor, Marcus Aurelius, like stoicism, if you've heard about, like very calm, composite. I will not let externalities affect me. You know, this is the way it is, very strongly accepting whatever it is. I can only control myself. So there's a lot of calm and composure that you've from that anxious journey to now, like chill, jo bhi
No,
hai.
sir, I wouldn't say that I've completely skilled on that. I've completely attained that. Not at all. I'm still in the process. I'm still in the process of developing that. So, sir, like I have improved a lot, I would say. Like initially, I
Oh,
was
great.
very anxious, but then this preparation, sir, that actually helped me to gain some confidence, get
Like
some kind of
as a person,
get some kind of attention on what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are. I became a bit composed during this preparation. That actually shapes my personality today.
great.
So I'm still in that exploration stage, sir. I'm still
Yeah,
learning.
everyone is. Tell
Yeah.
me,
So
because there's just a subsequent question to that. And I don't know, like, okay, I'll put it like this. Tell me, like, what kind of people are not likely to succeed in civil service exam?
So I think the nature of the exam is such that each and every one of us has likely chances. Like we all have the similar chances to get through this exam. But certain qualities, if you develop it over a period of time, or you already have as a part of your inherent character, that really acts as disadvantages. So one thing would be a negative perspective. Like if you're negative about it, if you're pessimistic, you're too
Very
much into
critical. Do you
very
like?
critical, too much into self-doubt, then you would keep comparing yourself to others. You would keep kind of the person I was during the initial days. Like I keep comparing my marks and rank with that of others. So that was actually my moments. I was not able to focus on things that I had. I was not able to complete my daily targets. So I think so this perception of always comparing yourself, always self-doubting yourself, always being pessimistic about things, never looking things as if there is a scope of improvement, and always finding that fault lines and for over stressing on that fault lines. So these are the qualities that one shouldn't have when even in life and specifically in civil services. And so secondly, I would say that being ignorant to your mental health and over stressing yourself with only targets. So that is a very toxic kind of trait that would be there, especially one if one
Yeah,
has
it's a
to prepare
real
for the
thing
civil
now. As
services.
much as we want to ignore, it's real, right? Like mental health is
Yes,
like.
sir. I think it's okay that you have a career to make. It's okay that you have a dream to pursue. But then, if that comes at the cost of your mental health, that is not worth it. You have to take care of mental health because it is eventually the person that you are that is going to the service, the personality that you're developing. And ignoring your mental health, becoming overstressed, depressed, and then still thinking that, okay, I'll be at the heights of my career and then doing the best, that won't help in the long run. In the long run, you will suffer, and because of your poor decisions, many others will suffer. That is
Yeah,
the thing, sir.
great. Uh, so we have this concept which is called preparation ladder, right? Where, I mean, or career ladder, right? Like, which is like we all of us like seem to have followed some kind of a ladder, right? We were somewhere, we learned something, we met a lot of people, they told us something, we were challenged by some certain things, then we got back to that and we went over that. We like we failed at a lot of things, we took a lot of supports, and eventually we are where we are today, right? Because of a lot of those choices and all those things, right? So tell us a bit about your ladder, right? Like you did, I based on my research, I think you were in school, DAB school.
Yes, sir.
This is in Jharkhand only. Like were
Yes,
you?
sir. Yes, sir. In the Jharkhand, Hazaribagh, yes, sir.
Okay, so Hazaribagh district, like that is where you went to DAB. Like all your life, this was just
Yes,
one.
sir. All my till class 12th.
How was your like school experience? Were you this famous topper person in your school?
Sir, I was indeed good in academics and also into reading. I held many leadership positions in my school also. I was prefect in charge and others, class monitor for years. And then that student who was always into like, I have to complete my targets on time. I have to be the teacher's favorite student. That competition of being at the top of my class and then getting awarded at the stage and functions, annual days. You have to be there. So I was that kind of student in my school days eventually. And that so but I think one that thing really helped me at one place. Like I always had high expectations and optimism for myself. I always believed that I have an immense potential, and
These
if
are
I'm
like
able.
self-inflicted, right? This is
Yes,
you.
sir. These are self-inflicted and that developed over a period of time. Although when I was in self-doubt, I knew I actually used to remember my achievements. Like you did all these things by yourself. You have that confidence caliber. Come on, you can again do that. So I think so. These things actually help, especially when you have that self-talk. At times you become critical of yourself, and then you actually remember that look, you have a stage where you outperformed everyone. So just remember those days that this is the same you again. You have again got a new challenge. You are the same person. You can outperform again. So I think so that optimism was also emanating from that past experience that I had in school.
Yeah,
So yes, sir.
correct. And like, okay, so DAV happened, and then you went to, I think,
So my
St.
St. Columba's College in my home district only it was there.
Did
So
did did doing physics? Was it like BSc physics?
yes, honors. Yes, sir.
How? Why? Like because your friends must be choosing something else. They're like IIT, JEE, engineering interest, whatever, right? Like what? Like how did it come natural to you? Like make a BSc physics see karna hai? This is not like a lot of people do, right?
Yes, sir. That is indeed true. So actually, I was not very much inclined towards mathematics as a subject, and that is very important for the engineering thing. Like I liked it, and I also got average marks in maths. So I was very sure that if ever I pursue BTech, I should have a very good background in maths, and maybe this is not something that I'm comfortable with, especially when it comes to pursuing a career. But I was over interested in physics. Like I was like in physics, I was very much sure that okay, this is a subject that I'm interested in. I want to pursue my career. So the time being, I just went with my interests. I didn't think that what the future perspectives are. I just thought, okay, I have a future unless and until I have an interest in physics. So I just went with the interest. And indeed, it was an unconventional choice. My friends went for IIT and medical, and many went for business administration and
Were
everything.
your parents all fine with this?
So indeed, they said that okay, you can have your own choice, but they gave me suggestions like, look, you will have these things in your future. You still have these options to explore. You can explore. But I was like, okay, but I reevaluated things, and then I thought that no, my interest lies here. Even if I become an engineer, I wouldn't be a good engineer
Yeah.
because then this area was something which I'm not good at. So instead of pursuing a career 4 years in a thing wherein I may not find that same interest as I would find in the subject that I like. So I just went with the domain of physics.
What were the like perspective you were seeing? Like, so had you not prepared for civil service? Were you up for masters in physics and then like some research in physics or something like that?
Yes, sir.
That
Initially, I thought that I would actually develop my career in physics only. Once I'm done with the bachelor's, I would go for master's and research into this domain. I was very much interested into the nuclear physics part, so I thought that okay, this is something that I will go with. But then, sir, came like the civil services term that I said that my sister was started preparing and I got interested. So then I started exploring, and then even my college days also COVID came. I got a lot of time at my home, so I started exploring things because I was still, I think, 2 years. I didn't go to college for 2 years; like it was all online mode. So therein, I kind of developed this inclination toward the civil service because that thing was already there in my mind. I was not sure that whether I would be able to make a career in this or not, but things were like, okay, civil services exam, which gives you a wide opportunity, a very fair idea of it, like every one of us has in these particular states, I would say, prominently. So this was there. But then during the COVID years, when I was at home, I started exploring things. Okay, physics is one thing. At my free time, I used to just see, okay, the newspapers are this is how it goes. My sister was preparing, so I was like, okay, let me know what things you actually study. Then I used to listen to the things. I used to see the activities and the achievements of civil servants around, the toppers, what they're doing, what are their activities or a domain wherein they work. So a lot of things were there. So I started developing this inclination. Then as they say, sir, that things never happen in a planned manner as you think. So like I had a very planned structure. Okay, physics is something, I'll do master this, but then there was this U-turn to the civil services. I
I
think,
think
sir,
that
this.
your optional was sociology,
Yes, sir.
but did the thought cross ki physics mein because aap bahut like you were strong in physics and you had this, did the thought cross ki you should choose physics?
So initially, to be honest, I chose physics only as my optional. But when I saw the syllabus, there were certain things that were resulting to the master's thing. Like you need to have a master's.
Correct. It
40%
is
of syllabus
somewhere
will be.
between bachelor and master.
Yes,
That's
so there was something. So there were certain topics of masters as well, and I just thought that I had one very clear idea, sir. I didn't mention it before that while attempting this first attempt in 2022, I was very sure about one thing that I learned from a topper, I would say, Shrishti Deshmukh ma'am. I saw her video, and one thing that really intrigued me was that what her line was that my first attempt would be my last attempt. I had to put in so much effort into it with this mindset. So even I started developing this mindset that instead of giving, compartmentalized efforts into next 5 attempts, next 5 years, it's better to put in all that concerted effort in my first attempt. I would do all that it takes in my first attempt. So I was very much like, okay, whatever thing I have, whatever potential, if all the scope of experiment that I can do, let's do it in the first attempt. So that was there.
Yeah, but like
So
surprisingly, this is the mindset. So I've talked to a lot of people, probably 3, 4 people who have done their single attempt. I think last time I was talking to Pavan Datta, he qualified from like one attempt. This is exactly like this theme runs common across people who qualify in their first attempt. It's like, this is it. Like, this is it kind of mindset, right? I am not going to be like, is agle baar improve kar lenge. I don't know how that comes, but it's like, this is it. I will give whatever I have in this attempt. Uske baad mujhe nahi pata. I'm not going to like, like think about, there's no plan B thing happening. So this is interesting. Like, a lot of people who qualify in their first attempt, this is kind of, even with Srishti, right? Like, she is also one
Yes,
attempt fifth
definitely.
time.
One thing that I really intrigued me from her topper's talk was that this attitude, this
Yeah.
this this attitude that whatever you have, just put all that concerted effort in your first attempt rather than just putting it all over years and getting depressed. Like, okay, it's not always that possible or pragmatic as such. Like, everyone is putting their best into it, but then that mindset actually makes you like, okay, this is all it takes. This is gonna be hard one. You can't take it lightly as if chalo dekh ke dete hain. Most of the people are chalo first attempt dekh ke dete hain. It's just
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
test the waters.
like a blank attempt, just to
It's a
test the
blank
water.
attempt. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us like quickly about your post-selection life. Like, result aa raha tha us din. Like, what was happening, and then after that,
So that's
what has been life after, selection? Because you were telling me on our call ki आपने attempt तो दिया इस बार, but because you have to like take the candidature back because IFS or IIS में, of course, like you
so,
can't attempt. So
so
now,
there is a whole story that goes after the results
yeah.
came. So the results were out on 23rd May, and I got all India rank 490. So here comes a challenge. I was declared temporary medically unfit because of certain reasons. And I was given a stipulated amount of time that this is a time wherein you have to reappear for the medical and then come as a fit candidate so that we can give you service. I was allocated the service in the third iteration. In the first two iteration, I didn't got the service. So here comes again a moment of challenges and self-doubt. Like I
After
am
all the 1 year of, like, it's like,
so yes, sir, you have made into the exam. People are interviewing you. They're actually getting to know how it, like, okay, how you made it through. And then there comes the skepticism in
once
your mind
again,
that
once again, life will have it her own way.
there is
It's
a
like, no,
skepticism in your mind that, okay, am I doing justice to them or not? I'm yet not allocated the service.
yeah.
So again, so I actually re-attempted this year again, 2023 prelims on 28th May. I just went there to give, and I qualified this prelims again because at that time I was not allocated the service. So then I cleared my medical also, but due to some procedural delays, it took nearly 3 months for the third iteration to come. And these 3 months were quite difficult for me mentally, I would say. I think more than the preparation, these were challenging. You had that uncertain period, like
Yeah,
you
because
really
now you are
don't know.
there. This is so close now.
You're so close. You have qualified the exam. You really don't know now what to do. I actually, after clearing the prelims this year, I went through the mains preparation also. I prepared mains for nearly 1 month also, like because I had nothing in my hand. I actually qualified the exam, but I don't know that whether I'd be allocated service or will there be any issues. Like you really not certain about it. Like no one is certain about it, so you can't really take any chance. So I was again into the preparation, and then I was told that okay, you're probably getting in foreign service and something, so you have to withdraw your candidature anyway because you just can't appear again.
With
This,
IFS and IFS, you can't reappear.
yes, so these 3 months wherein I had nothing but to think of all the situation that may happen. I
You
was
were
just
playing all the
guessing.
scenarios in your head.
All the scenarios were going on in my mind. Like, okay, what if I'm given the service? What if I'm not given the service? What if I'm not able to qualify the mains? Like, uh, it was a completely different mental pressure. Like, you are a candidate who has actually qualified the exam. You're sitting
Yeah.
here preparing for mains again, and you may not get the service. Like, you're not on EOL. You are someone who not located the service, and you're again into this preparation.
And
So
this is
like
not a far thought, it's an actual possibility. It can happen.
it can happen, sir. And I think it was the most difficult phase, I would say, in the prep, even more than the preparation, this was traumatizing. Like, you don't have a goal now where you have to go. Jana kya hai, kya hona, you really don't know as such. You're completely clueless. You're just thinking as if all the situations may happen and may not happen. They can be a completely different scenario that you have to tackle by yourself. So that is the thing, sir.
Okay, like, last two things, because you read a lot, right? What are you reading something currently? And mostly, do you read non-fiction mostly?
So earlier I used to read self-help books, but since my training, I'm more into the IR books. So the book that I'm reading presently, The People Next Door by TCS Raghavan.
Okay.
So that's the book that I'm presently reading. So
What are the
earlier,
books that you really like close to you? You really love them.
sir, one book that really was very close to me was The Alchemist
Oh,
by
like
Paulo
by
Coelho.
Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho. Yes, so his book, The Bride, The Alchemist, Zahir, Winner Stands Alone. So he was one of my favorite authors to write. And then I also studied Ikigai. I also studied psychology of money, atomic habits. These are self-help books that I used to study earlier, but now I have a more filtered kind of approach when it comes. Like it should also help me in my service that I am actually giving to the country. So
Right.
now I'm more into the IR domain. I am more focused. Like I'm actually
Those are the ones
diversifying
you're
my
finding
options.
relevant now.
I'm reading those things. I think everything actually gives you some lesson. Nothing is good or bad, but it's just that you have to kind of diversify the options around you. You just can't stick to one particular domain when it comes to reading. That also gives you a diversified knowledge base. So now I am more kind of exploring other domains also in the fiction and non-fiction part. So presently I'm more into that IR domain and I find it quite interesting.
All right. In Raw and Real, we asked this one question in the end, which is like if you were, if you had to go to a desert island, okay, and you can only take three things with you, and there is no internet there. It's a desert island. What are those three things that you'll take with you?
The first thing that comes to my mind is my book.
Okay.
That is the one thing that I would take. Uh,
What are the other two?
the second thing, I would carry is my national flag.
Okay.
That's something that is a very big part of my identity. And third thing, I would carry food and water to survive.
Sorry, did you say water?
Food and water to survive.
Okay. Thank you so much, Swati.
Thank you
Uh,
so much, sir.
been a pleasure speaking with you. And like lot of like it was a very expensive conversation, lot of insightful and reflective things that came out, right? I think people is gonna love it, and lot of things they can take away that feeds back into their own preparation and beyond that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great interacting with you. And Civilsdaily, thank you to all the Civilsdaily team. They had an immense role to play in my interview phase. And again, I'm today here giving my interview as a topper. So it gives me immense pleasure. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. That's it. I hope like you had great time, reflective time.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you.
it will take us some time to go through it and process it, and we'll send you before we put it on YouTube once for you to go through.
So if there are kind of any interruptions in between, I would really ask sorry on my behalf because I was kind of I didn't kind of organize the setup anyway.
As
So
you said, you can't
actually,
control.
I'm in that constant mode. Again, have to travel. So
No,
maybe
it's completely fine. That is totally okay. I'm just saying, like before you put it out, after the
yes,
processing,
definitely.
we'll send
Thank
you
you.
once so that you can go through it. It's generally
Okay,
takes
sir.
3 4 days. ठीक
Thank
है.
you so much.
Have a
Thank you,
great
sir.
time. Do wonders in your service. All those things, and all the best. Stay in touch. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, sir.